with yes, your presentation is here. It's interesting. I suppose that we are alive, but we can wait more 1 or 2 minutes
Yeah.
to to have the lecture at the time that we are scheduled.
Yes. Yes.
The people
Absolutely.
are waiting, are waiting. Yes, we are in YouTube now.
Yes. Good.
Let me see if everything is okay. We are alive in my phone. So I suppose that we can start. We have some people here
Okay. Okay.
looking.
Yes.
Um, today we have with us. It's a pleasure to introduce you. It's the first time that you present here in our SAP Insights track. Nitin Gupta, that comes from Amsterdam. I suppose you are in Amsterdam now, yes?
Yes. Yes.
I have here a little resume of you. You have a MBA in finance.
Yes.
Nitin has expertise in driving the business transformation and innovation with the fair usage of technology. His 15 years of global and multi-industry experience in transformation projects involving business and IT consulting ranging from a small SAP project to large enterprise. Knitting is an effective business leader driving the results by maintaining transparent and healthy relationship with business partners and stakeholders, with extensive experience of managing cross-functional, cross-organizational, and cross-cultural teams. Um, I stay with you just at the end of the section. If there are any questions in the chat, I will post them so you can answer after. So now the lecture and the time is yours. Thank you very much, Nitin.
Thank you, man.
Welcome, and let's go with your lecture.
Sure. Thank you, Manuel, and thank you for this opportunity to have to present to the guest here on SAP Inside Track for Telisa. Very happy to present it. And today the topic for the presentation would be SAP S/4HANA Central Finance. So I'll speak about how Central Finance can help a customer or an organization from moving from ECC journey to S/4HANA journey. It's a stepping stone, and I'll explain how that stepping stone works. So that's a summary of the session I will explain. And in overall agenda, as I mentioned, I introduce SAP Central Finance. I will explain what data replication we talk about, and what are the other aspects, the technical aspects of this particular process of SAP is, which includes mappings, which include data reconciliation, and which includes the next step towards the transformation, which includes how you transact in S/4HANA when you move from via Central Finance to SAP S/4HANA. So before I start the agenda, I will just want to brief you about the audience, about myself. As Manuel mentioned, I have been involved in business transformations from long time now. I have 15 years of SAP deployment experience, and I have been working on almost like 25 to 30 plus projects of in various geographies. Currently, I am based in Amsterdam, and I have been a published author on S/4HANA. I wrote a book on 1709 release, and now we are on 2020 release, so pretty long back. And if you see on YouTube, you will have a lot of videos from me on SAP topics, and on blogs.sap.com. You will see a lot of blogs authored by me. And I have been involved in several all project phases, right from business ideas to transformation ideas into deployment, into project management, value discovery workshops, and of course, automation. So that's my experience summary. Getting into the topic, I will first explain what central finance is, because there is a lot of confusion when even to the customers with whom I have done implementation. They understand central finance as it's not clear, is it a separate module or is it a separate path? Is it outside S/4HANA or is it inside S/4HANA? So in summary, central finance is a deployment option, or you can say a stepping stone toward S/4HANA. At the end, the organization goal is to move from current ECC systems to S/4HANA system in a long-term vision. 2020, you are thinking of working on ECC. You think to move to S/4HANA, you cannot move in 6 months or 1 year, looking at the size of the organization or the global enterprise. So you need to have the plan in place and how to step to that journey, ensuring that you don't impact the business continuity, ensuring that you bring less disruption to the business. So that's what central finance is all about. So if you see the stepping stone, at first you are operating in ECC as of today. In next short-term goal, you keep on operating in ECC, but you replicate your data to S/4HANA, and you partially start transacting in S/4HANA. So that will give you a journey where you first transform your finance section, and then once your finance is stabilized, you are well fit in finance, you started transacting in finance, you started reporting from finance from S/4HANA, then you start your journey to migrate logistics and other areas, and which will enable you to migrate full-fledged into S/4HANA. So you can say for first 2 years you operate, currently you operate in ECC, next 2 years you start operating in S/4HANA Central Finance, and then in next 2 or 3 years you start operating in full-fledged in S/4HANA. So overall, in next 5 years, 7 years, you are capable of taking away ECC from the landscape out, leveraging all the benefits of S/4HANA. On top of that, you can have the benefits of all new solutions and the new innovations which market is currently capable of. That central finance is. It is not a specific module. It is not outside S/4HANA. Of course, you need a separate license to implement central finance within S/4HANA, but it's not something outside or it's a separate installation. It's within S/4HANA. You have to activate it via different licensing, and you can use your central finance box. It is actually an S/4HANA box for future usage of S/4HANA. So that's central finance. Now, as I explained just now, why it is stepping stone, it is just a broader vision why it is in a stepping stone. So as I mentioned, in first phase, you keep operating in ECC, but you start your financial reporting in S/4HANA. You replicate all your data from ECC to S4, the accounting data, and then you start transacting in S/4HANA, like financial transactions, payment, accounts payables, account receivables, journal ledger entries, and then you also start parallelly reporting balance sheet reconciliations. You start your financial systems transactions in S/4HANA, and then once your financial systems are stable, then you plan implementing logistics in S/4HANA. And then at the end, the last box is sunset source system. Of course, you will not carry on the debt. You sunset the source system. At the end, what benefit you get is you get early benefits of S/4HANA implementation. You don't need to wait for 5 years. You can go in agile way. You first transform your first part, which is replication. Second part, you reporting. Third part, transactions, and the fourth part, logistics. You plan in agile way, get early benefits of the product. That's why it is called stepping stone to S/4HANA, and that's what SAP called it. Clear benefits, non-disruptive migration to S/4HANA. You don't need to shut down your ECC system. You don't need to impact your business to migrate to central finance or S/4HANA. You implement S/4HANA and you keep on migrating your accounting documents. You can standardize your process, because when multiple systems are in use for financial processes, especially, you have Oracle and for example 3 SAP systems. You are paying in different ways. You have different opportunities. You have different ways of working. You can simplify and standardize those. You have simplified reporting, because now different systems were reporting in different data models. Now you can have a global data model. And of course, at the end, simplified planning and consolidation, because customers used to implement SAP Analytics Cloud and group reporting on top of Central Finance, because all your data from different systems is in one system in a universal data model, or you can say global data model. And then on top of that, you implement your planning and consolidation. So these are the clear highlighted benefits of CFIN, and it is proven in the market. That's why I'm just giving you a very high level market view. This is just a summary as per SAP on for Fortune Global 500 companies based on the recent 2020 survey, how CFIN is doing in the market. We call it CFIN, or we can say S4HANA Central Finance or Central Finance. We generally call it CFIN. So you can see amount of companies is like almost 35% of companies of top 100 are in process of implementing, or they have implemented. So it is creating a huge market in terms of skill set and opportunities, plus in terms of business benefit, it is offering that much features. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. I will be happy to answer as I move forward in the process of this discussion. So I'll explain now architecture, how it looks like. You can have your n number of systems on the source side. You can have ECC systems, you can have non-SAP system, and it can be unlimited systems. I have worked with organizations with 20 systems. I have worked organization with 5 systems. I have worked organization with 10 systems of different size, of course, and different versions, different release. There is no restriction that all your ECC should be on 6 point, for example, ECC 6 EHP7 or something. It should be, any release will work. Even on other systems like Oracle, BAN, or JD Edwards, all those systems are capable of this transformation. And then after getting on the left hand side, you have all your source systems. In the middle, where you implement SAP landscape transformation, which is SLT, and then you implement S4HANA box. And what it does is it does not replicate everything. You don't expect that it will replicate, or it is not a copy paste that you just post here and it will bring here. It is not a copy paste. It actually reposts the data, and what it posts is this. Before I get into detailed design and technical architecture, this is what it posts. So it brings all your accounting documents. It brings all your CO documents, all the CO document which are resulting from, when I say CO, it means assessment distributions, all your CO related documents, all your profit center documents, your activity rates, material cost estimate, projects and WBS, and cost objects like internal order, which are stored in a UFK table. It can include internal order, it can include process order, it can include service orders. All those are included. So this is all standard SAP. All these objects you create, all the documents you create in ECC system, it transforms into S4HANA system. And the way it works is, you can see here in a very simplified view. On the source side, you are posting your documents, and via Central Finance Accounting Interface and your SLT, it goes through S4HANA. Within S4HANA, it reads the mappings. I will explain in a few minutes what mappings are. And then it does error handling, because document might fail or document might pass. So it ensures that you have the clear view what is fail and why it is fail and how you can resolve the issue. And then it posts into S4HANA, which is a universal journal AC Docker table. One important thing to note is, as I said, it's not a copy paste that you have a document here, it posts there. It actually reposts the document. Document number will change. Fields will be mapped. Mappings will be read. Your values will change. When I say values, like GL account A is mapped to GL account B, then you post on ECC on A, it reads B, and then it shows there. I'll explain you the way it looks like here. This is an example replication. If you see, there is a document posted in ECC system, which is on the left hand side, 10038. When the document is being replicated to S4HANA system, it is now 33129, and it shows the sender company code. It shows the sender logical system. It shows the sender fiscal year, what is there in ECC system. So it just transforms your accounting document into S4HANA, and of course it gets stored in AC Docker table. So that's an example of replication. how you can read. And if you can just double click here on the sender document number, it directly reaches out, it opens the ECC screen and it gives you the source document number. Now, before I go into detail, I will explain you what mappings are. So mappings are very important for any CFIN project. Those are the heart of the project because every object has to be mapped. Of course, you can decide some objects to be not mapped, but I will that will look like in few minutes. If you can see here a mapping entity, for example, you can say a customer number or a vendor number or a cost element. You can say, okay, my cost center from system A, which is cost center number 123, will be mapped to cost center, let's say XYZ. And then you can, when you post on 123, it will be reposted into XYZ in CFIN system. This process helps in getting your global data model ready. So now from different systems, you have different design and different architecture of your all your data models. But when you transform into S4HANA, you can simplify your view. You can say, okay, GL account of system A, for example, travel expense of system A, travel expense of system B, travel expense of system C. All those accounts will be mapped to one travel expense in S4HANA. So they can have different number ranges. Something might start with 1, some might start with 5, some might start with 7. But here you can say, okay, all my expense account will start from 6 because you are now preparing for the future global data models. So that mappings help in major transformation, and it is mandatory to have the mappings. What are the types of mapping we have in S4HANA is key mappings and value mappings. And then we have cost object mapping, and then we have COPA mappings. So key mappings are simply better master data mappings. So as I mentioned, customer number, vendor master, cost center, profit center, GL accounts, everything has to be mapped. Value mappings is for configurable data. It's like your company code. It's like your payment terms for which you actually doing the configurations. Order master data is like, as I mentioned, AUSK data, which is your internal order, production order, service order, system maps, everything. It's up to you. You can decide the mapping. Is it 1:1 or is it N:1? You can say, okay, all my internal orders in ECC will be mapped to one internal order in CFIN based on your reporting design. Or you can say, okay, all my customers, for example, because I want the data in CFIN, will be one customer in S4. So it's all your choice. Your customer can decide whether it is N:1 or 1:1. And then you have COPA mappings. In COPA system maps your value fields, characteristics, and GL account to condition types. Because in this process, SAP transforms your cost-based COPA into account-based COPA. That's a way of working. Because if you see with your experience, most of the customers in current ECC, they use cost-based COPA. But now SAP is saying used account-based COPA. They have renamed it to margin analysis, which is kind of, a nice version of best of all worlds, a nice version of cost account-based COPA. So all those mappings are standard. Of course, if there are objects which you think are not, you are customer specific or very business specific, that can also be mapped. We can do the custom mapping in the system. There are options given to the customer. For every object you have a choice. You can say, okay, I want to keep my ECC data as is. Maybe you are not doing particular value as a transformation, you want to keep the same. For example, company code, you say, okay, company code in ECC will remain company code in S4, company code US01. You can say keep data. Mapping obligatory is it when the moment you select this mapping obligatory, it will always look for the mapping. So for every object, every single object which is listed on the left hand side, like company code, order type, movement type, cost component, costing variant, cost center, you can select individual action. You can say for cost center, it might be mapping obligatory, but for purchasing group, it might be map if possible. And for cost element, it might be keep data, because you want to keep the same cost element as from ECC. So again, very flexible, based on customer's choice, based on your design, you can juggle around all these values and all these options. That something might be obligatory, something might be optional, something might be, you don't want to use some field, you can say, okay, clear this field. So you can say clear data. So that's all about mappings. And if we go next, data reconciliation is very important approach in S4HANA Central Finance, because when you load your data from ECC to S4, SAP has a concept of initial load and replication. So in initial load, what SAP does is, for example, your go live is planned in, let's say, 1st November. And now you want to have a summary of all the year, whole year into S4HANA. So if you go live on 1st November, SAP brings from 1st January till 31st October, everything via initial load. So it brings all the balances, it brings all open items. And it's a standard process. It pulls from the system and it posted in S4HANA. And then from 1st November, you can start real-time replication, which means that any document posted in ECC will automatically get transformed and read via mappings and will be posted in S4HANA. So with these reports, what we do is we reconcile the data. We say, okay, if you see an example in source system, I have, let's say for particular company code, I have 2559 documents. But in Central Finance, I just have 670 documents. Document not in Central Finance are, let's say, 1820. Maybe a reason why they are not in Central Finance. There might be errors or there might be a technical issue. But these reports give you very clear picture. And everything, if everything is passed and your numbers are matching, then maybe it will look like 2559 in ECC and then 2559 in S4. And then these reports are like for FI document at header level. These reports are for balances. These reports are for line items for FI as well as CO. So these are standard report. Then simply read via RFC function. You run the report in CFIN. It goes fetch the data in the real time from ECC and it displays what is matching, what is not matching. This I already discussed. And coming to configuration, so when it is the transaction code is CFIN IMG. You can also go to SPRO in financial accounting. You will find Central Finance. It will open the same node. However, for CFIN specific, CFIN IMG is a configuration node, and you can see the system settings. You have source system settings and you have target system settings. So in source, you have to do a lot of configurations per area. If it is just a replication, then of course you have to do settings, and I'll explain you central payments. And then in CFIN system, you have to do the RFC settings, you have to do the mapping settings, you have to do initial load process, and then of course replication settings for profit center accounting, cost estimate, activity rates. And then on top of that, SAP has given a lot of bodies where you can tweak the data. You can build more enhancements. So if data is coming from ECC to S4, you can say, okay, in between, I want to put my rule so that, if it posts in a different way. So there are, for complete configuration is covered on via videos in the YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel. If you just go and browse, you will see everything covered in terms of configuration. So there is all information is available there. Now comes the next step. So first step was in ECC, you implemented S4HANA, a Central Finance, you start replicating your accounting documents. Now the next step is, what next? You already have the data now from ECC to S4. What should I do now with the data? I have an implemented box. I have S4HANA. What should I do? Now the next step is you start running processes on S4HANA with that on that same data. Data is coming in real time. For example, vendor invoice. Your 3 ECC systems are posting vendor invoice every day. All those vendor invoices are getting replicated to S4HANA. Now you stop doing payments from ECC. You start doing payment from S4HANA. So what it will give in terms of value benefits is, rather than having 3 interfaces to bank, you have 3 different integrations. Rather than managing 3 different file formats, rather than managing 3 different types of payments, you centralize your process. So you can see here a very simple view. You can simplify your credit collections, dispute management, foreign currency valuation, your SEPA, your central internal and external payments, down payments, bank integration, shared service environment. All those things can be changed. All those things can be simplified with this. So now you are making payment from S4HANA system. You have standardized your process. You change overhaul your process completely. The way you were making payment then in ECC, the way you are making payment via Fiori now is completely changed. So if you see the process, you create your accounting purchase requisition in ECC, then you create purchase order. The moment you create good receipts, document goes to S4. The moment you create good invoice receipt, system replicates the invoice to S4 and it technically clears in ECC so that nobody should be able to even try to make a payment. If you run your FBL 5N or if you run your FBL 1N customer and vendor reports, those items will be cleared. They say technically cleared. And then those items are open in S4 so that you can make your accounts payables. You can make your account receivable from one central system. So what it does is first you bring all your data, you replicate. Second step, you start transacting in S4HANA. And then on top of that, you have central tax reporting because you are making payments, your tax values are also in S4. So you have your tax reporting. And then you start your month-end closing from this system. You can also run your reconciliation because all your balance sheet and trial balance are complete in S4HANA. Now, if you see the story, your payment information is not in ECC. So your ECC is not the source of truth or the source of accounting data. All your accounting data is now in S4. So you see, you transform from ECC, you now in S4 slowly and gradually, and you start reporting. So this journey, let's say, took 2 years. In 2 years, all your finance is in S4 via CFIN, and then now you start thinking of other processes in the step-by-step manner. So that's why in the start I mentioned this is a stepping stone, and then you keep on thinking and keep on expanding the scope. Just a summary of what all processes you can centralize. Payment was just one example. You can do your dunning from S4HANA. You can do your foreign currency valuation, interest calculation, customer vendor correspondence. Of course, you are making payments now. Regrouping, provision of doubtful receivables, calculate and post balance sheet adjustment. Intercompany reconciliation can be done now in S4HANA. Even if you have multiple systems and all intercompanies sitting in different systems. And of course, month-end reporting plus balance sheet reconciliations, which are different from my intercompany. So with this, you centralize all your processes in S4. You are getting the value of all new innovations by SAP. You didn't disruptive your business. You don't change anything there. That system is running, your business is operating, logistics is running, shipping is happening, delivery is happening, no change there. However, you still getting leveraging the benefits of S4HANA. All your financials are now in S4. You keep on operating through Fiori apps with all new UI and all new beautiful interface. And on top of that, you implement SAP Analytics Cloud for planning, because now you have all your financials in one system. You can do planning. And of course, you can do consolidation via group reporting, which my friend covered in another session in SIT session. So all your processes are centralized, and that's how you move from ECC to S4. So this is a very simple and a nice journey, non-disruptive. I have seen customers being very successful, and a lot of customers have implemented this central finance being one of the very nice choice for their digital transformation journey. So in summary, I will not take much time now. I will try to close. So in summary, CFIN is a stepping stone for S4HANA transformation journey. But there are several careful decisions, especially from architecture perspective, you have to take, because the moment your stepping stone goes wrong, your whole journey might be a mess. So very careful decision has to be taken from architecture standpoint at the early stage. And CFIN is very important, very complex in terms of planning. So when you're doing CFIN planning, it should be very important to understand that you have room for initial load, which takes time. You have ensured that system performance is good. You are not disrupting anything in terms of technical landscape. You have to choose your landscape wisely, how you are implementing processes and how you are replicating data. So, and as I mentioned, there are several blogs on available on blogs.sap.com regarding all central finance topics, which includes error handling, which includes initial load, what I explained, which include a lot of processes, plus which you would also have a lot of videos on CFIN configuration. So don't forget to browse that. And yeah, that's all from my side for today. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nitin. Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. Very nice topic. It's a question that I will do to you because it's a particular question for me. In your opinion, the biggest change in finance was the business partner, or sees other issues like major changes in finance? Because normally we have the customers and vendors, and now we have the business partner.
Yeah.
How much difficult it was work with this object business partner in S4HANA?
So yeah, of course, this is one of the major change which S4HANA brings from ECC. Customer vendors are transformed into business partners. So it is important that before you replicate the transaction data for CFIN, you have ensured that your CVI, either customer vendor integration, which is a kind of sub project within S4HANA implementation, is done, or when you are implementing fresh S4HANA, you have accommodated via tool like MDG, for example, or any non-SAP tool, that your business partners are created well, and your data is cleansed and clear in the source systems before you migrate, before you create a new data in ECC, in S4. And then you have to do the mapping of your customer and vendors to business partner. For example, a customer in ECC, a vendor in ECC is one business partner in S4. You map both of them to one business partner. And then all the customer open invoice and vendor open invoice will be posted to one business partner. It will be visible simply in the standard reports.
Because now in finance we have many functionalities that needs the business partner to workflow, to payments, etc. So it's important to put it in a good way.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I suppose we finish our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we have another, the last. It was Isabel Sanchez from Madrid. Thank you very much. And next year, I suppose, we contact you again to bring more notice and more news about our S4HANA implementations.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for organizing, and enjoy your day. Thank you. And I will share these slides so that audience can have access to the slides as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.